So, first of all, thanks a lot for taking the time to talk with me.
Yeah.
How are you? How do you feel?
I'm okay. I've done a bunch of interviews today, but yeah, I'm in the zone, I guess. So it's all good.
Yeah, I'm sorry for the time. The,
Oh no,
just
no.
it was the only slot I was available.
No, no, no. It's only 8 o'clock. That's cool.
And by the way, before I forgot, um, on Saturday I saw a gig of Xtort, and they say to me to say hello to you.
Who?
Xtort, Xtort,
Oh, okay.
the band.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Awesome. Very cool.
yeah, I didn't forget.
Great.
Um, so my really first question is, how would you describe Mortiis music without using the words dark ambient or dark wave or dungeon synth or any other subgenre? I want your own words. Yeah, I love this question.
um, I think I would say it's like explorative, if you know what I mean by that.
Oh,
I explore sounds.
that's a cool answer.
Pretentious answer.
I don't know. I don't know.
I
Pretentious? No,
um
not really.
I um I feel that it's the correct word to use. I definitely like to experiment and try things out and see what works, and if I can create something that sounds different, that's interesting to me.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Uh, but by the way, how much time do you have?
We
Because
have at least half an hour. We're okay.
okay, okay, because I have a lot of questions, so maybe I can skip
Yeah, I
some.
mean, if we go over that, that's also cool. It's not you're probably the last one that I'm talking to today, so it's cool. Yeah.
Cool. And I have a question that's quite interesting for me too, because it. Do you remember why you picked the name Mortiis when you started to play music?
Well, the thing is, I picked it before I started to play music.
Oh,
Um, it was something I think maybe like in 1990 or 1991. It was a little before Emperor got started for sure. Um, I mean, we were already into the scene and writing with other bands and ordering demos and being active in the underground. I mean, I had a couple of other bands before Emperor too, where I was played bass and I was a vocalist in one of them. So during that time, at some point, I mean, I was already playing music when I picked the name Mortiis, but it was before the whole black metal thing anyway. Um, so I had it by the time Emperor got started. I already had the name Mortiis. It was just something we thought was cool, because we were into Venom and Sodom and Hellhammer and all those old bands, and they all had these sort of sort of crazy artist names. And we were into Mayhem, of course, and they were all called like Necro Butcher and
yes.
Euronymous and Maniac and all of that, and so that was great. And we were just into that, and so I um I picked that name from um I was writing with a guy. I sent like fan mail to the old Hungarian band Tormentor.
Oh,
Maybe and I didn't know at the time that I was going to get to know Attila because it was so long ago, and Tormentor I think had split up at that point, but this was maybe 1989 or 1990. And the guy that responded to me was not in the band, but he was handling their fan mail,
hmm,
and he signed all of his letters with it's something something, and then this Mortis, some Latin Mortiis, and I was like, wow,
yeah.
it's cool. I'm gonna steal that and use that as my artist name, or just as my nickname. I was an artist at the time. I think maybe I had my first band and it was just having fun. So it wasn't. I didn't think of myself as an artist or anything. But yeah, I stole the name. I thought it was cool. I was 15 years old, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand.
That's a long time ago.
Um, yeah, I remember a lot when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
How do you still link this name to the music you play now?
How do I link it to the
Yes.
um I don't think about that. It's just, when you've been known under a name for that long, I think perhaps it becomes simply just a name. Um and I'm not sure how important it is for that name to make sense with the music anymore. It's just I've been called Mortis for the most part of my life. It's just a name now, and I'm not really concerned whether or not it's in any way if it matches with the musical style or
Okay.
whatever. That doesn't matter to me.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and so you're about to release your 11th album named Ghost of Europa. How
Yeah.
do you feel about it? How would you sum Ghost of Europa identity in only 3 words?
How would I do what?
How would you sum Ghost of Europa identity in only 3 words?
I find it to be my personal feeling. I think I succeeded in making it quite mysterious. Um, it travels in a sonic landscape, and I think it's expansive, because I'm doing things on this record that I haven't really done before. I feel
Well,
traveling, expansive, and I forgot the other word.
don't worry. That's interesting.
Well, what you have to think about is that it's not a black metal record, so you can't say, yeah, it's atmospheric, it's dark, it's brutal, so it's you gotta use different words to honestly describe it. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, at least it seems quite different from your previous albums.
Yes, I agree. I think there's a lot of elements to this that is definitely different. But I mean, personally, I did feel while I was making it that, okay, I mean, I feel like I'm picking some bits and pieces from previous ideas that I've had from previous records. There are some elements that I think you could kind of connect with some previous releases, but um, I think predominantly I've probably made a record that yeah, for sure it sounds different, and just kind of gone further into space, or in some sort of strange, unexpected direction.
Mm. Yes. I was surprised to be honest because when I'm thinking Mortiis, I'm thinking the smell of rain.
Yeah.
It was the first album I was listening to, so uh,
Right.
and this one, it, I was yeah, okay, it's more calm, but I feel something different and I feel good when I hear the song.
Okay.
So
Well, that's a good
uh,
thing.
yeah, really, really.
That's cool. I mean, I think there are moments there that you could definitely connect to the smell of rain. I forgot, but for sure not all of it. But I mean, now and then, um, which I guess I like to have. I guess I like to know that I can keep at least like a small anchor in and the various sounds that I created in the past. I don't want to completely forget my past, but I also don't want to be stuck in it. So, I kind of, I guess, in a sense, you could say I pay tribute to earlier ideas that I've had, and while I'm also trying to move forward and discover new sounds and weird sonic areas. Um, but then again, I feel songs like Heart of Hell is actually fairly similar to some of that Similar Rain stuff. So, you know.
Mm. Okay, thank you. But about the new album, The Ghost of Europa, um, it happened 6 years after the previous one, for which you toured back in 22 in Europe. Are there any change you noticed into your composition process?
I'm sorry, how did that?
Sorry, are there any changes you noticed into your composition process when you
Well,
created the songs?
um, I think one thing that definitely affected and had that sort of in almost in a way it sometimes dictated the way that I wrote music was um a lot of the collaborators on the record. There's a lot of people that have contributed
Yeah.
with the voices and guitars and other things, and especially with some of the vocal performances when I sent those back to me. Songs were in a much earlier state of progress, and a lot of times when they sent those back, they would have a influence on the way that I decided to continue writing the song. Sometimes I would actually, um, for example, when Lorianne House sent some of her vocal stuff back to me, it was so fucking cool that I actually decided to rewrite the song a little bit. I mean, this goes for Tribes of Dystopia and Transcending Morpheus, especially those two. Where wow, what she just gave me here, this is so powerful that I'm actually gonna rearrange the song a little bit around her voice to make it integrate even more.
Wow.
So, and that's just one example. I mean, the same thing happened. I mean, Sarah Diva had a big impact, and other guys that contributed guitars and vocals and everything, and they all influenced me in the way that I kept writing the music.
So is that the reason it takes so long to create Ghost of Europa?
No, well, it's a little bit of the reason. I mean, that does mean it takes longer, because every time you get something back, then you change your work tactic a little bit to accommodate with the new material that you received. Um, but a bigger reason really is because throughout all this time, ever since the early beginnings of the record was during COVID, I don't think it's been 6 years, maybe 5. Um, I've done a lot of touring, so every time you go on tour, there's a lot of work before you go on tour to prepare,
Yeah.
weeks and weeks of preparations. So you have to put everything else aside. Then you go on tour and you're gone for however long you're gone. Then you go back and there's still some post tour work to be done. So touring eats up a lot of time, even more than the actual tour. There's the time before and after the tour that also eats up a lot of time. Um, so I did 2 or 3 tours almost every year. Like I think I've toured the States like 5 or 6 times since I
Wow.
started working on this album. So that's a huge distraction.
Yes.
Um, and then I re-recorded my first album actually, which took me about 3 months because I was touring that record for a while. So that took a long time. So really, it hasn't been 5 years of like actively working on
Mm.
Ghost of Europa. It's been a very on and off project. Actually, the most intensely I've worked on it has probably been the last 3 or 4 months when we finally set like a deadline. It's got to be done by that date because then you have to mix it and everything. And at that point, too, the songs weren't ready. A lot of my own vocals hadn't been recorded yet, so it was a lot of hard work from November to February. That was a very
Wow.
intense period to finally get this fucking thing done. but it's because it's been in progress for so long. Uh, it reaches a
Yeah,
point. It reaches a point where you almost feel like you're just sick of it. Like we have to be. I got to get this album behind me now. You know.
I know that.
Yeah.
I know that feeling when you're on a project and past one point, you just want the project to be finished
Yeah. And
because it's too much.
yeah. That's the point where you really should finish as soon as possible, because I think that's when it starts becoming a little unhealthy, because you start to get that almost like a hostile relationship with your record. And I think it's like a big sort of danger sign, like, okay, you got to finish this now before you start hating your own record, you know? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, Continuing on that point, your goal is to tell stories through music, and it has many
Kind of,
routes, not
maybe. I
really.
mean, uh, you could say that. When I did the dungeons and stuff, I mean, there was certainly a huge storytelling factor. There's no doubt about that. With this music here, I've I'm not as focused on telling stories with my music. I mean, if of course it's a compliment if somebody experiences your music as some kind of journey,
Yeah.
that would be fantastic. I mean, that's one of the best compliments you can get, in my opinion. If somebody goes, hey man, I mean, I was just floating away when I heard your music. It took me to a different place. That's, oh wow, that's that's one of the coolest things that I can hear. Um, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's my goal, but I do take it as a great compliment if people tell me that. Um, but my personal goal is, and most of the time has always been to simply create music that I can feel proud of, that I feel represents me, and oh yeah, that um I suppose in a way visualizes me as a person. Yeah, that this feels really honest and true to who I am. Because that means it's going to stand the test of time for me. It's going to be something that I can look at in 20 years as an old man, and and still enjoy and still feel proud of. So that would be my ultimate goal.
Hey, to be honest, I still enjoy your first album, so
There you go.
I
Yeah.
I think you achieved that.
Thank you.
But to continue my question, it's which band would you quote as your personal main influences? What inspire you to create music, and how do you write it?
I don't know what band inspires me the most to make music, because to be honest with you, during most of the time of making this record, I wasn't really listening to other bands. I've been really bad at listening to music for the past few years. 'Cause
Oh,
yeah, it's kind of is a bad. It's not really, the reason is a bit tragic, I guess, but the reason is mostly because I I work on so much music myself, um that once I turn off my speakers, I really enjoy the silence.
yeah, the sound of silence.
Yeah, Depeche Mode. Um, but
Garfunkel.
exactly, there's something about it. I mean, when you've spent hours and hours and hours just sort of tweaking away at music until your ears are almost bleeding, you really don't want to put on another record by someone else. You just want to zone out and do something different. You don't want to think about music. Maybe I would rather just watch a movie, or relax in some kind of way.
Read a book.
Yeah, and recalibrate your ears, so that you're ready for the next day. Um, so yeah, well, that's kind of it's a bit sad that it gets like that, but I think it's what they call like occupational hazard, with a lot of people that work on a lot of music, and especially when I get into these intense periods of many, many hours in a row every day. Um, you just need that break. So, um, I'm afraid I couldn't really tell you what band influenced this album. I I was just inspired anyway to just make music, and I don't want to sound pretentious or high on myself, but I found inspiration and motivation in the moments where I thought I was creating something that sounded good. That usually that a lot of times that gives birth to additional ideas, and so it develops in a natural kind of way. But of
Oh,
course, you know, I do drive my car a lot because I live in both Sweden and Norway. So my family lives down in Sweden, but I have my work in my studio in Norway. So I spend a lot of time on the highway back and forth between my family and here in my studio, and I just turn on the radio. You know,
yeah.
it's like a cool Swedish rock show that I always listen to, and sometimes actually, you know, there'll be like a song that has something cool that happens in it, and I try to, oh well, that's a kind of a cool idea that they had in that song, and I try to remember it, and maybe I can use that in my own music. To be honest, that's the closest thing I think that I've gotten to for a long time, being influenced by other music.
That was unexpected.
Yeah, I know. It's weird.
It's strange a bit, but
Oh, well,
okay.
there you go. That's how it is.
Um, to continue about songs, uh, what is your personal favorite song on Ghost of Europa? Or maybe the hardest one to achieve?
I'm sorry, what's my favorite song on Ghost of Europa?
Yes.
Um, well, thankfully, I'm satisfied with all of them. I think they all have their own personality in a way. So it's kind of hard to pick one. Because um, well, I mean, for the longest time, it was Ghost of Europa itself, but that song, it's I've heard it so much recently.
Yeah, too much.
Yes, I'm a little sick of it. um, and there's other songs in there that I feel. I mean, Ghost of Europa is just a good. It's a really great song. Um, but I feel other songs on the record are, in my opinion, more creative and more, and probably a bit more interesting sonically with things going on inside of it. I really like Farewell Romero, to be honest with you. I think that's a cool song. Um, and it ends the album, and it's got a bit kind of a cool backstory. It's very that's actually influenced by, but it's an old song. It's one of the old song on the record, and that one was, as a matter of fact, influenced by John Carpenter, the movie maker,
Mhm.
the guy who made Escape from New York, and he made The Fog. Um,
Yeah.
he made Prince of Darkness, which is a fantastic movie. And the cool thing about John Carpenter was he wrote his own soundtracks because apparently it was too expensive to hire outside composers. So he made his own soundtracks using really cool synthesizers back in the day. And he had a very specific, and he had a collaborator called Alan Howarth, but they had a very specific sound. And that song is actually kind of a tribute to a movie called Escape from New York, from
Okay.
which is a very cool movie with a very cool soundtrack. And it's like a bit of a tribute to one of the characters in the movie, while at the same time the lyrics are personal to me, but I'm also stretching out a hand to that character in that movie, um, who unfortunately the actor actually died,
Oh,
which is why I'm calling it Farewell Romero. Romero is the character in the movie, so that's the closest thing I get to like something that really influenced me, I suppose. But so that song has kind of a interesting meaning to me, and I just it was the last song I recorded for the album vocally, and I re-recorded all the vocals because I was very unhappy with my first performance, and I redid it, and I was very unsure if my performance was good. But I sent it in to Sean Bevan, the guy who mixed it, and who I have a lot of respect for, and he said it was a good performance. So I was like, okay, I believe you. You know, let's do it. Um,
yeah.
but you know, the faith that fades away has a great chorus that also has a deeper meaning for me. So that's another one that I really like.
Cool. That's quite a good answer. And to be honest, also for me, it was difficult to pick one. So I understand perfectly.
Yeah, I like. I mean, I like them all. Which I mean, thank God for that because it's my album. If I was unhappy with some of it, then I shouldn't be releasing it. But
Mm.
yeah, no, I like all of them. I think they all. The album has been in the progress of being made for so long that it's almost like you develop a individual relationship with every song because you've lived with those songs for so long. They become part of your life. So it's a little hard to pick favorites, but um yeah, those two today I would say those two. Tomorrow maybe I feel differently.
Okay. And related to the song, the album has a lot of guests,
Yeah.
whether it is on vocals or instruments. How did you pick them and then decide to ask them to participate in Ghost of Europa?
Um I didn't make a list of people that I wanted to work with or anything. I think they all kind of turned up in my life in random ways um where it felt natural to me to ask if they would be interested in maybe doing something on one of the songs or two of the songs. Like Emil Nikolaisen was a really cool guitar player from Serena Manish, and he's also now he's a live member of Brian Jonestown Massacre these days. So he does that crazy fuzz guitar really well. And so I remember I asked him, like I had been introduced to him through our mutual friend Stefan Groth from Apoptygma Berserk. And so I'd known Emil for a while. This is just one example. And I didn't think about it until I met him. Like, what? Wait a minute, he does all that cool fucking guitar stuff, and I've been kind of wanting to maybe put some of that into my music. And here this guy shows up in my life, and okay, let's, I'm going to ask him.
Let's try it.
Yeah, I'll ask him. What's the worst that could happen? He could say no. It's not the end of the world. Um, Others were perhaps a little more um let's say advertised for in a way. The way that Lorian House came on board was after I had gotten a few contributions from Sarah, because Sarah was quite natural for me to just to ask because we worked together before. And but I decided that, you know what, I think I want more than just one singer on this record. Let's mix it up and get some more variation. So I actually, one of the few times in my life where I've gone online and asked a general question to followers, could you recommend me some really cool female vocalists? And I got all these responses. I made this huge list and I started checking them all out on YouTube. And I came down to Lori, and her stuff came up, from all the game soundtracks that she's done. And her voice was incredible. So I decided to contact her with a specific intent to ask her if she would be interested and in doing some collaborations, just doing some vocals on the music. And then yeah, she delivered some incredible stuff. And other guys were just sort of friends of mine who actually have studios in the same building as me. So it's just like, hey man, you play guitar, do you want to come up here and try some stuff? So some of them were really simple things, others were more
Yeah.
involved. you know it happens in all kinds of ways.
Okay. Thank you for the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And so, do you think you improved yourself as a musician and songwriter with this new record?
I think so. I think on this record I've done both sort of more traditionally arranged music and then um more evolving, almost in a way soundtracky, sort of ever changing, morphing kind of weird ambient stuff as well. So I feel like I've covered a pretty broad sense of, or broad area of sound. Um, and I think I've gotten better at it. I mean, I'll never be the Eagles or Led Zeppelin, in terms of songwriting.
Your Mortiis, it's enough.
You can always be better. Um, so and that's kind of like my motto, if I feel like I've made an album that is better than the previous one, then I'm happy. I'm satisfied with that. That's sort of like I've done my best. And
Oh,
I can only hope that next time I'll do even better.
I hope too.
Yeah,
I
hopefully.
hope too.
Yeah.
I remember the show you did in Paris at La Machine du Moulin Rouge, opening for Mayhem. Do you remember this tour and this show in particular?
I remember the tour. I was still drinking back then. I stopped drinking now. So that
Oh,
was one of those tours where you're drunk for 40 days in a row. Um yeah, tour life can be crazy. But Moulin Rouge, yes. I do have little flashes of a memory. I remember there were like these cool, like sort of vintage arcade games in the back, I think. Unless so much, I don't know if you've been backstage there, but I mean,
no.
okay. So I think that was the venue, and I also remember, I think, wasn't that the venue where we had to be picked up in minivans and driven to the bus outside of town or something? I don't,
Oh,
I'm not sure if or maybe the tour bus was right outside the venue. We did a couple of shows in France, you see. So, but
yeah.
no, I remember I have flashes from Moulin Rouge. Um, I remember I thought it was cool that we played there because it's a legendary venue.
It's just right at the Moulin Rouge, but not totally in it. But yes, the
Yes.
place is quite cool
Yeah.
and quite strange from, I think, from other countries.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah, I had a great time there, man. I mean, I guess I must have had a great time because I can't remember too much, which meant I was probably drunk and having a great time. But no, like I said, those were the days where I was drinking too much. So memory gets a little fuzzy.
I don't worry. I
But
stopped drinking too, so
it's a waste of time. It's a fucking waste of time. You're just being hungover all the time. You get nothing done.
mm.
Mm.
I just don't crave alcohol anymore, so it's okay.
No, I did for a
Um,
while. I mean, I still would love to have a beer. I fucking love beer. That's why it's hard to quit. But it's a couple of years ago, so it's fine. I don't have cravings.
yeah.
And I always remind myself it's so because I'm the kind of guy. I'm the last man standing every time. I'll be the guy drinking until 5 in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah, that's typical me. I mean, there's just I can't really do one beer. Then I'm gonna want another one, and then off we go. And then disaster. So it's much better to quit, and then you're
Ah,
hungover forever. It's a fucking waste of time.
don't worry, don't worry.
Ah, no.
Um, Talking about touring, you're also about to embark for a USA tour with RADA. How do
Yeah.
you feel about it? How did you work to get in good shape for this tour?
To get in shape for the tour, I mean, I practiced my voice a lot, and I hope it'll sound all right because we're gonna do a lot of Smell of Rain songs. Since this Ghost of Europa isn't going to be out until June, so obviously you can't do a whole lot of songs that nobody's heard on a whole tour. So we're going to do a couple of Ghost of Europa songs, and then it's going to be a whole bunch of like almost the entire Smell of Rain album. We're going to do the whole thing.
Wow,
We're going to do the whole thing except two songs, I think.
wow.
And then a couple of other songs from that are more like industrial rock, like angry, more energetic stuff. So it's going to be interesting. So I've been practicing a lot and trying to remember the old lyrics and all that. I haven't had time to go out jogging or get into like physical shapes. I hope I won't fucking die, but I'll be all right.
Okay. Um, how did you build the band's visual identity with your mask? Do you think it improved the live show?
I'm sorry.
Um, how did you build the band's visual identity with your mask? And do you think it improved the live show?
Do I think the mask improved the live show?
Yes.
Um, I've done the mask since fucking 1993. For a long, long time. I mean, I had a break for a while where I didn't do it, and then I've been doing it again now for almost 10 years. So to me, it's just a very integral part of the visual identity of Mortis. So I don't really I don't know if it makes the show better or what, but it's just such an integral, natural part of the Mortis identity now that it's just a natural thing to do. Um, I have no idea whether it makes it a better show or not. I know
But
I know it's a lot more comfortable for me to wear it, but I mean that's my personal problem.
at least people recognize you. So
Yeah, yeah. I think most people like it, So
yeah,
that's got to count for something.
yeah. And on stage, so you have helped the drummer John Siren. Uh, he will
Yeah,
be also be present for the US tour. How did you decide
yeah.
to work with him?
Well, I was introduced to him in advance of the previous tour that we did a US tour with Mayhem last year. Um, and I needed a drummer, and because I work with a guy called Tim Van Horn, but he's sort of out of the music industry at this point, so I needed to find someone else. And I was introduced to John, and we started talking online, and um, that's how it goes these days. You always meet online. So yeah, he was into it, and I just sent him all the music to practice to. And seriously, the first time I met John was like the day before the Mayhem tour started. We had one day of rehearsing, just or
Wow.
two days, I think, of rehearsing or something like that. It was a couple of days, and well, thank God we get along really well. He's a very, very likable guy, extremely professional and super nice, and great sense of humor. So we connect really well, and that's all I need. He's a great drummer, great guy. And everything's fucking great. So um, yeah, he's the drummer I would prefer to work with as much as possible. But he works with other bands too, of course. So it's a little bit down to his schedule.
Okay. I'm impressed. Just 2 days for rehearsals. That's impressive.
Well, I mean, we had both rehearsed on privately before that, of course, but we only had 1 or 2 days to rehearse together, and then we went out on tour.
Okay.
But it worked
Uh,
out, man. I mean, he sent me some videos of him rehearsing, so I was able to. So I knew that he was already playing the right stuff, so it was fine.
what will come next for Mortiis in the future? And what about touring? Would you like to tour again to promote Ghost of Yorba?
Yeah, that's part of the job, man. I mean, that's one of my main things is to look to try to secure shows as much as possible and get tours and things like that. So I really would like to go back and tour Europe again. It's been a while now.
Is
Yeah. So, I have an agent in Europe and he's working on it. So we'll see what happens in the future. I would love to do it.
okay.
Yeah.
It's a bit late. If you have still some minutes
Oh, it's
to
fine. Yeah,
discuss.
sure.
Okay. So you also appeared a few times with your former band Emperor, playing bass like you did in the past. How
Yeah.
were those experiences?
Um, well, I guess a whole variety of emotions. I mean, for one, it's fucking great because they play to much larger crowds and they play big festivals. So I get that experience. I mean, I've done a couple of those things with them already. And I think it's awesome that they kind of like have this idea that they want to bring me and Faust out and once in a while, and do this thing together, just a few songs, sort of blast from the past kind of thing. Um, and then of course, immediately following the sensation that, oh, this is cool, then I feel, oh fuck, this is terrifying. because I don't actively play bass. I mean, I just rehearse a lot before I do a thing with them, and then I got to get up on stage, and it's only been a handful of times, but anyway, the experience of going up on stage in front of pretty fucking big crowds, playing an instrument that you're not really that familiar with. You've just practiced those specific songs
Yeah.
and just being completely fucking terrified that you're gonna make a mistake. Because the thing is, I'm very good at being Mortiis and doing my thing in my studio. I can do that well. Um, I'm not really in Emperor. I'm above and beyond the weakest link. You know, those guys are super great musicians in their world. You know, I haven't been in that world for 30 years, really.
Yeah, you're not used to anymore.
No, not really.
That's
So you know, but it's fucking terrifying walking up on stage and you're looking at like thousands of people, literally like, oh my God, you know, and then okay, here we go. I hope hope they're not gonna kill me. Um, and this year we're doing whacking, which is fucking huge.
yes.
Yeah, we're doing the mini LP. Um, Me and Faust and Ishan and Samoth, you know, and then the next day we're doing Beyond the Gates, same thing. And I think we're doing a Spanish festival. I forgot the name of it at the moment. So we're doing those three things this summer. So, but you know, at the end of the day, if I have the time, I will of course do it because one, it's a challenge and I'll fucking take it. Um, and it's great. I mean, the feeling you have when you walk off stage and you've done it is absolutely incredible. So, you know, it's at the end of the day, it's great. Terrifying, but great.
Okay. I have three more questions if you
Sure,
can.
sure.
Um, have you ever heard of the French Gothic and industrial scene? Are there any bands you know and like?
Oh, I have to be honest. You know, like I said in the beginning of the interview, I haven't really paid attention to anything in the past few years. Um, I know the French has always been creative. Um, you know, with you know, air and space and Jean-Michel Jarre, Daft Punk, and you know, that's more like the electronic scene, which I know France has been very pioneering in. Um, but I got to be honest, I don't know a whole lot about the Gothic scene over there.
Yeah, okay.
Mm, sorry.
I take it. I take it. Don't worry. You are busy, so it's okay.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's like when I was younger, I paid way more attention. I was way more active about figuring, you know, finding things out and all that. But you know, the older you get, and being busy is good. It means something's going right. You know, like you're staying busy. So,
Yeah,
but unfortunately, you know, the result of that is that there's very little time to be sort of curious about other things. There's just no time, and when I have time, I'm too tired, no energy. I just gotta relax and stuff.
I understand perfectly. The same for me.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, are there any bands you would love to play with? I will let you create your dream poster with Mortiis headlining and three other bands, even
Headlining.
unrealistic and are accepted.
Um, I couldn't headline any of this, but I think at this point, like if Enigma had ever done a show and I was able to like warm up, I think some of my music would really work with that kind of sound now.
Oh,
You know, that would be fantastic. Or even like Dead Can Dance or something like that. I feel like that would be such a cool combo.
yes.
You know, and in the past, I would have said like my dream would have been to be able to like maybe like be like a special guest or something for someone like Ministry when I was doing more of the like sort of like industrial rock stuff that I did for a while. Which I think would have been a great fit. And even like Nine Inch Nails, which is would have been massively fucking just to be able to do like one show.
Oh, yes.
I'll just play while all the people are coming into the fucking room. You know, I'll just be the house band. Um, but I mean, Ghost of Europa, that record probably sonically would fit better with something like Enigma era, maybe, Dead Can Dance and that type of thing. Vardruna, maybe I've kind of hinted at that would be kind of cool, but I don't even know if they tour with anyone or if they just do like a, just them on stage and no one else. I'm not sure exactly how they do it.
Um,
Leibach might be interesting. That would be kind of cool.
which one? Sorry.
Leibach, that would be kind of
Oh,
interesting too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Good idea.
Hmm.
And so I have a last and funny question for you. Quite funny.
Okay.
Which dish would you compare Mortiis music with? Yes.
I have the most boring food habits because food to me is just fuel. I've not been much of a
Oh,
culinary kind of person, and you're French, right? So of course
yes, you can say
you
that
guys
to
are all
me.
into yeah, because you're into food. Um, Seriously, I live off of noodles and fucking sausages, because I don't give a fuck. Yeah, yeah. Um, my wife is a pretty good chef. She's good at making food, but I know so little about food. You know what I mean?
Oh,
No, I wouldn't know what to tell you. Food is one of those things. I like food, but it's not a big part of my life. It's just like fuel.
oh, you killed my doll.
I'm sorry. Um, to me, it's just a necessary thing. I'm hungry. Okay, I'll go make some food, and then I'll go back to doing whatever I was doing. So I'm
Oh, but
Norwegian. I'm Norwegian. We just eat meatballs, man, and potatoes. I mean, we're a pretty boring food country. I guess we're like one step above Germany or something.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I can take it.
I'm sorry.
But that was the last question for me.
Okay. All
So
right.
thank you very much for your
Thank you.
time and your music.
Thank
And the last words are yours for your
you. Oh,
audience.
okay. I'm so bad at this. I mean, I really appreciate people listening or reading or whatever. And um, I guess after all this time, it's still kind of amazing that people are still interested. That always blows my mind a little bit. So you have to be grateful for that. So a big thank you to your followers for that.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, and have a good night
Yes, you too.
and a good meal.
Doodles. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
See you.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.